Season 6 just dropped, and a lot of time your settings will get messed up and reset, so we're going to be going through all of the meta ones to make sure you can dominate all of multiplayer and Warzone. With that said, this is going to be for PC, console, controller, just not keyboard and mouse. So I do have an Xbox Elite V2 controller. I got the paddles on the back. I just have all these front buttons just right on the back. I will sometimes make it so I can ping with the reload, which is pretty beneficial in Warzone. I think it's a little bit cheesy to do in multiplayer, but it is very, very helpful. For the edit button layout, this is helpful if you don't really want to play claw or you don't have a fancy controller, but you still want to be able to have like very good aim while doing the movement. Super beneficial in Black Ops 6. So I would definitely get used to like bumper, jumper, tactical. Allows you to jump with the left bumper, and then you can crouch by just clicking down the right stick. And then for the bumper ping, if you like to ping a lot with the bumper, you can just have that on personal preference. You can flip the bumpers with the triggers. This is pretty helpful, so then you don't have to pull down a trigger and wait for your, you have to pull it down for the gun to fire. You can just click a button. For me, I have trigger lock, so the second I hit the trigger, the gun's gonna fire. Stick layout preset default, controller vibration. If you play with this on, please turn it on off. It's just going to make it so your shots are a little bit more accurate because less things are going to be shaken in your hand. It's going to feel weird at first, but it is beneficial once you get used to it. Dead zone inputs. I like my left stick min at 1, a little bit personal preference, but 1 should be universal overall. And then left stick max. This is super important. For you to get the max movement speed, if this is on 100, you'll have to move this all the way to the end. But if you have it on 50, all you have to do is move your stick halfway if you want to hit the max movement speed, allowing you to do the movement a little bit faster. I would keep it between like 45 and 75. And then for the right stick max min, I like to have mine on 5. Even with a brand new controller, I'll still have it on like 3 or 5. If I have it on like 0, I find that I like overcompensate on the recoil control, and I still have a lot of stick drift with 5, but I just feel like the gun's not, like my aim isn't as responsive if I have it on anything past 5. Some players will increase it to like 10. After that, you really need a new controller, but overall, you guys should be fine with 5. By the way, if you want all of your guns maxed out day 1 of Black Ops 6 dropping, make sure you check out my long-term sponsor, guapi. They will play in your account to legitimately unlock basically anything you want. This also applies to zombies in Warzone, plus a bunch of other games. So if you don't have time to level up all your guns, or you just want the mastery camos day 1, make sure you go to guapi.com. I'll have their link down in the description. Just make sure you bookmark or save the website so you can be first in line. Right stick max 99, left trigger and right trigger, you want those on 0. Now for the aiming, so the sensitivity, you can literally get used to any sensitivity in the game, but you're not going to have consistent centering. If you're a sniper, it makes sense to have a higher sensitivity, but if you're using a red gun, I really would just keep it between like 6.6 and 7.7. Majority of the pros have it in that range. And then for the ADS sensitivity multiplier, I like to have mine on 0.85. Sometimes I will increase this to like 7 and then have my ADS at like 0.80. Again, you can get used to any sensitivity. You're just trying to find something that you're pretty consistent with, which a way to find one that you're the most consistent with is to go into like a private match against some bots and just shoot like 100 to 200 of them and just move it around so you find yourself feeling pretty good with one. Again, don't think about it too much. For these ones, I like to keep these like at the same as this one. I swear there's like a little bit less input lag when I just match up everything on there. Vertical aim axis, I just keep all that on standard. Tactical sensitivity, I would lower that to 0.85 if I could, just to match everything else. Aim response curve type, I think dynamic is the best one. Every single pro player and every good player runs it. It just makes it so if there's a couple targets on your screen, it's easier to snap to each one. ADS sensitivity multiplier focus 0.85 just to keep everything else the same. ADS sensitivity transition timing instant, custom sensitivity per zoom, I just keep it on 1.0, but feel free to put it on 0.85 if you have everything else on 0.85. Target aim assist on, aim assist type default. I know a lot of very good players like to have it on Black Ops. Again, doesn't really matter, just find the one that you like. Just stay away from precision and focusing. Precision actually makes quickscoping very easy, but then when you use a ray gun, it's like super awkward. Third person ADS correction type assist, motion sensor behavior off. And then for the gameplay, so automatic sprint, I think it's actually way more beneficial to have it on this than automatic tactical sprint, because I win a lot of gunfights against players who are attack sprinting, since I can just bring up my gun and fire it a little bit faster, since I don't have to go from the animation of attack sprinting back into like regular. Although you do have to click the left stick a decent amount, so you can kind of like break your control if you're mashing it too much. So a lot of players will have it on automatic tactical, but I do really think it's beneficial to have it on automatic sprint. Slide maintain sprint, this is insanely beneficial if you have it on. Sprint / tactical sprint behavior toggle, auto move forward off, tactical sprint behavior, single tap sprint. If you have it on like double tap, you have to click the left stick twice if you want to get into tactical sprint, so you can save your controller by just have it on single. Grounded mantle, automatic airborne mantle, automatic ground mantle slash hang, all on off. That's going to make it so you don't accidentally mantle on like a little piece of like a bush mid gunfight. Slide slash dive behavior, make sure this is on hybrid. It's going to help you out for Black Ops 6. It makes it so you can still slide with it being very responsive. If you go into like the firing range and try to slide around when you have it on tap to slide or tap to dive, you're going to notice there's a little bit of a delay. So this is going to eliminate that delay. And then if you want a dolphin dive, all you have to do is click the left stick at the same time as you click your slide button. So you have to do like a 2-button combo if you want a dolphin dive, which honestly isn't too difficult. At first it'll be weird, but once you're used to it, it'll be super beneficial. Plunging underwater free, parachute automatic behavior off, sprinting door bash on, ledge climb behavior mantle only, ADSI behavior hold, change zoom activation, sprint slash tactical sprint. This stuff doesn't really matter too much except for your interact slash reload behavior. You want to have it on prioritize interact or prioritize reload. The reason I like interact is because I play a lot of Warzone, so it makes it so you can loot very quickly. And if you're like mid gunfight and you run out of ammo, it's faster to just pick up a gun off the floor. And there's a lot of time there, especially if you're playing hardpoint, there's always guns on the floor, so you can pick up a gun very quickly and then, you know, proceed to be in the gunfight rather than like having to swap weapons and use a pistol. And then this is just going to make it so then you have to hold the reload button for like a second. But if you're reloading, you're typically already in a safe environment, so it doesn't really matter if you have to hold it for like half a second. And then prioritize reload is basically the opposite. And then armor plate behavior, apply all. Keep in mind, if you're playing Warzone and you want to like plate while you're jumping through a window, like look down at the window sill when you're jumping through it and you can still play. It won't cancel it out. ADS stick swap off, backpack control directional buttons, and then depleted ammo weapon switch on, quick C4 detonation group, manual fire behavior press, akimbo behavior independent, a little bit personal preference in there. This is just what I like, so feel free to copy all of these. And if you find this video beneficial, make sure you guys hit the like button down below and subscribe for the future best Black Ops 6 class tips and just, you know, how to get better content. Display mode, full screen, borderless since I'm streaming, but if I'm in like ranked play, I'll usually use full screen exclusive. Gonna make it so you have a little bit less input delay. And then this stuff doesn't really matter. Automatic. Yeah, just feel free to copy all of these things. We're going to be going for like more frames while also keeping your game look very well. If you have more frames, yes, the game won't look the best, but then, or unless you have a crazy PC, but it will just be more responsive, and so you actually win a lot more gunfights when your PC is just running better. Graphic preset custom, render resolution 100, upscale slash sharpening. Make sure this is on fidelity. This is what makes your game look very, very well. You can have the worst settings on, but if you have fidelity, you're going to be able to see the targets a lot easier. A lot of players will keep it between 50 and 100, majority at 100. Path tracing plus reconstruction off. And then, yeah, just performance. VRAM scale target. If I'm just playing the game, I'll have it on 90, but since I'm streaming, I like to have it on like 80. Variable rate shading on. If your PC starts to crash a lot, then I would put it on off, and that should smooth things up. Texture resolution. I like to have mine on normal or high just so my stream looks better. I still would always keep it on normal since the visibility in the game isn't that good. Texture filter, anisotropic. I actually like to have mine on high. You guys can see that you'll see a little bit more depth, and so if someone's like laying down behind a piece of cover, you'll be able to, like, you know, see that cover easier. If you don't have that, sometimes like you won't be able to see the cover and then you're shooting at them, but then it's not like registering your bullets. So I like to have it on high. Depth of field off. Detail quality level, you actually can see a little bit more if you have it on low. Particle resolution very low. Bullet impacts on. Persistent effects on. You will have more FPS if you have those on off. Shader quality high. You can see a little bit easier into the shadows with it on high, so if an enemy's laying there, it's going to be easier to see them with the high. On-demand texture streaming minimal. I always say that word wrong, but you guys know what I'm trying to say. Local texture streaming quality normal. Shadow quality very low. Screen space shadows, if you want your camos to look good on, make sure this is on high. I don't really, I guess I do care, so I have it on high. If you don't care, have it on off. Ambient occlusion off. Screen space reflection, same thing as the camos, keep it on high if you want those to look good. Static reflection quality low. Environment tessellation near. Volumetric quality low. Diffuse physics quality off. Weather grid volumes off. Weather quality off. Now for the view, field of view, if I'm playing like multiplayer ranked, I need to have it on like 103, or else I kind of get world star just because the targets are a little bit smaller. You get a little bit less aim assist and you don't need to see that much. And when I'm playing like X iridescence, top 250 players, pros, I need like every little thing just to be able to compete, even though, you know, I am iridescent. I have the calling card over here. Well, I guess the emblem, as you guys see. And then but in Warzone and stuff, you can get away with like 110, 120. Since the map is bigger, it's actually beneficial to have it up there so you can see more. And then the game is more fun to play at like 115 or 120. Like it really is, it just makes you feel like you're moving around way faster. And so I've been having a lot of fun on 115. I just lower it when I'm playing multiplayer ranked. ADS field of view, affected weapon field of view wide, third person field of view 90, vehicle field of view wide, world motion blur off, weapon motion blur off, film grain 0, and then keep these on the least one. Spectator, camera, game perspective, inverted flashbang on. It just it makes it so instead of your screen flashing white when you get flashbang, it turns black. So sometimes you'll think that your monitor turned off. Now for the audio settings, I like to have it on headphones based boost. Just makes it so it's a little bit easier to hear those footsteps. Previously I would have it on headphones, but recently this one has been a little bit easy to pinpoint where the enemies are. Speaker output stereo, and then speakers, that's just mine. And then you can test things out right here. It is a little bit specific depending on like what your setup is, but this is what I like for like a headset, monitor, and controller setup. Master game volume on 80. Feel free to copy all of these things. It's kind of nice to have the gameplay music volume on. It just adds a little bit more depth, and it's not as kind of eerie and quiet and boring. Voice chat volume, personal preference. Feel free to copy all of this stuff on there. And push to talk is pretty nice if you're playing on PC, so then you can just click a thing on your keyboard and to talk to the enemies, unless you're trying to talk throughout the match. But like, if you're just trash talking, that one's pretty helpful. Reduce tinnitus. I get pretty bad tinnitus randomly, so I actually need to have that on. See, like I had that off, but I had it on, but it got reset in the update. And then feel free to copy all these. This is where you can like switch the sound of the hit markers. I like the Modern Warfare. Actually, I'm gonna mix it up for the season, and I'm gonna do the classic ones. And then now for the interface settings, a lot of people don't think it's important, but it is very important. Not necessarily this stuff, but when you go over to the color customization, you can make the game astronomically more bright. I've been really liking the pink on there. It's kind of easy to see the enemies, but I mix it around just to make the game feel a little bit new. For the team, I like to have it on bright green. For the party, I like to have it on bright blue, and you can max out the saturation and the brightness, then just make sure you apply the custom color and do that for each one. And then for the color filter, filter 2 is going to make everything the most vibrant. Same with the color filter target. Make sure that's on both, and then max out both of those things on there. And then for the HUD balance, I like to make it in as possible, so then when I'm looking at my minimap every 2 seconds, which is what you should do because it tells you exactly where the enemies are. Like if your teammates are on the bottom left corner, the enemies are typically the top right corner. Kind of depends if you're dying a lot or something like that, but the enemies typically spawn like the opposite of where your teammates are. And so I'm always looking at the minimap, and if someone doesn't have a suppressor, they do show up on there. The HUD balance being in just makes it a little bit easier. Minimap shape, you can get more information on the square. Minimap rotation on, horizontal compass, I think that's pointless. Have it on off. Crosshairs static is super important, and then I like to have the center dot on, so then it's easier to center. And then I like to have it on large. It's a little bit easier. I swear my eyes are pretty bad, and I'm 23 years old, and I feel like my eyes are horrible, but I just like to have it on larger. And then hip marker visuals on, damage based hip markers on. Player names, I'm actually going to do full name just because it's a little bit easier to see if you see the enemies like clan tag. Just the more information the better. If you put it on icon only, you'll see how difficult it actually is to see the enemies. In-game text chat on, vehicle HUD prompts fade after 10 seconds. Feel free to copy all of this. I like to show my FPS, my server latency, and my packet loss, and then gameplay tips off. And that should wrap it up for everything on here. If you guys do want more of the best settings, the best classes, and everything for Black Ops 6, hit the subscribe button. If you guys did find this video helpful, hit the like button, and deuces.